Good afternoon. It is January 28th, 2014. I am Brandon King. I'm here with Rashawn Smith as part of the Case Western Reserve Social Justice Institute Voicing in Action project. Good afternoon, Rashawn.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. You want to go ahead and tell us your name for the camera?
My name is Rashawn Smith.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, your family.
Okay. All right. I've been living in Cleveland all my life, off and on, for 43 years. I work for the Sheriff's Department. I'm a commissioned officer there. I've been there for 7.5 years. I currently do not have any children or anything like that. I've been married once before, back in like the mid 90s. I was married for like 3.5 years. But I'm definitely a loyal citizen of, Cleveland and East Cleveland, Ohio, and I plan on being here the rest of my life.
Rashawn, hold on a second. Back at it.
hmm
So, Rashawn, tell us a little bit about your family history.
Okay, my family, speaking about my mom and father, they grew up in East Cleveland ever since like the late 70s, I know. That both of them are very hardworking people. I know my father is retired. My mom is still working, but she will retire in about 2 years from now. And they're just, very religious and upscale citizens.
Where's your family from?
My mom is from West Virginia, and my father is from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
hmm
You know what brought them to the Cleveland area?
Well, I know my mom in particular. She just moved in Cleveland when she was like in her early 20s. I don't know exactly why she moved to Cleveland, but she just, I think she felt like will have a better opportunity as far as raising her children and starting a family and things of that nature, compared to West Virginia.
Okay, okay.
hmm
What about siblings in your mom's family? Did she come here by herself? Did she come here with
She
brothers and sisters?
she came here with her sister. She only have one sibling. She just have a sister, but they both came around the same time though.
Okay. What What's the family structure like with your mother and your sister? Is the family close?
Yes, for the most part, they're very close.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they're very close.
What else can you tell us about your family? How about your father's family?
Oh, my father's family is they're very dedicated and they're very active in the community as far as volunteering for a lot of different things. My my grandmother on my father's side was, she was like everybody's grandmother or everybody's mother. She made sure everyone had food to eat, and she babysitted for a lot of kids in the area, the neighborhood and things of that nature.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So it's like the kid drop-off spot, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
The kid drop off, the kid hangout spot.
that's how it was. What year was this?
Well, this was back in kind of like the early to mid '80s. I remember.
You could do that back then. I
Yes,
remember those days. It's that's East Cleveland. That's how the community was.
exactly.
Now your family. Can you tell us about your family, mother, father, grandparents, uh, so far as inside the family, values, beliefs? What was the family like?
The family just believed in. They had a lot of moral values. They were God fearing people. They believed in going to church every Sunday. They believe in basically doing everything kind of like by the book as far as what the Bible says, and they were very they had a lot of morals to themselves. I didn't have anyone in my family that were like criminals or anything of that nature. They were just, very good, humble people.
What about brothers and sisters?
Well, myself, yeah, I have one brother,
Okay.
and he's kind of the same way. He works every day and take care of his children, and he's very, very responsible and independent.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Can you think back to your earliest memories of East Cleveland?
Yes, I remember when I first moved to East Cleveland back in the late 70s. East Cleveland was definitely considered the suburbs back then. I mean, I had cousins that used to visit and spend the night over my house or my mom's house, and they feel like they were in a whole different neighborhood compared to where they from. They're from like Cleveland by Wood Hill Park area. And back then, East Cleveland was definitely, I mean, it was a suburb. It was a very nice area to live. People who wasn't from East Cleveland that lived in Cleveland thought that if you lived in East Cleveland, they thought you were pretty wealthy back then, back in the late 70s.
So, Rashawn, so that I'm clear, you were born where?
I was born in Cleveland,
Okay.
but I moved in East Cleveland back in, like I say, 78. I was only like 7 or 8 years old back in 78. Hmm. But majority of my life, I've been living in East Cleveland, though.
Okay.
Yes.
If you don't mind, let's go back to your early childhood in in Cleveland. You go to Cleveland schools,
I went to East Cleveland schools.
even when you stayed in Cleveland.
Well, when I stayed in Cleveland, I went, let me see. Yeah, I went to Cleveland schools, but when I moved in East Cleveland, I was only like in the first or second grade, I think, then. So the most of the years that I've been in school, majority of the time I was like going to East Cleveland schools.
Okay. Do you remember in your time in Cleveland?
Yeah, I remember briefly.
How would you say life was in Cleveland, and then compare it to the East Cleveland when you moved here?
Life in Cleveland to me was a little more rougher, a lot more crime back then compared to East Cleveland. East Cleveland was a whole different change of scenery. It was very nice, and like I said, it was like a suburban community back then.
Okay.
So it was very refreshing to move from Cleveland to East Cleveland because I was in a whole different, atmosphere then.
Do you know why your parents were your parents together when you moved to East Cleveland, or was it just
Yes, they were together when I
okay?
moved to East Cleveland.
Now, had you heard anything about East Cleveland, or do you know why your parents decided to move you to East Cleveland?
I believe my parents wanted to move to East Cleveland because they felt that it was a better community and neighborhood to raise their children. And the school systems were, well, I guess, more better also.
Okay. Okay. Now, you're telling me you remember East Cleveland
Yes,
in the late '70s when you moved up here.
correct.
Tell me what life was like. I know you said that your friends and family would come in, they would think of East Cleveland as a suburb, but describe growing up in the '70s in East Cleveland. Tell me what it looked like outside. Tell me.
Okay. It was very clean. The streets were very clean. All the houses had people living in them. There were always like things to do. We used to play like sports, football, and things like that on the street. We used to go to like the civic center and like go skating and just go there to play like basketball and football and things of that nature. But I remember back in the days we used to do a lot, and it seemed like nowadays you don't see the same thing that happened back in back in them days.
You say you would play right out on the street.
Yes, right on the street. Hmm.
So I'm taking it that there's a lot of kids.
Yes,
Okay. What else did you guys do as kids growing up?
we basically went to the mall and we just played different, like I say, a lot of different games and different sports. We used to like box in the backyard, and we used to play like hide and go get it with the girls and things of that nature. It was, I wish I can go back to them days.
Good times, huh?
Yes, very good times.
Okay, okay. Now, I know you've touched on it a little bit, but can you think back and tell me some of your fondest memories of East Cleveland?
Okay. Um, my fondest memory, my fondest memories in East Cleveland, I remember was going to like football games, like Shaw High School football games. And I remember playing football for Shaw High School back in the days. I remember in East Cleveland, me and my friends, we had a singing group. We used to imitate the group New Edition, and we used to perform in like festivals and talent shows and things of that nature. We used to always also be in front of my mom's house, just dancing and performing in front of her house on the sidewalk. And a lot of people used to come by and just watch us. We didn't care. We kind of liked the attention back then. I could say that was probably my fondest memory, living in East Cleveland.
I think I may know some of this. What was the name of your group?
New production,
New Production?
yes.
What festivals did you do?
We did Glenville, Collinwood, Lee and Harvard Festival. We performed in like Shaw talent shows,
Okay.
Glenville talent shows. Um,
How about that East Cleveland, Lee and Euclid?
Lee and Euclid.
Yeah, remember we used to do that
Yeah,
festivals there?
yeah, we did festivals there also. Yes.
Okay.
hmm
What can you tell me about those festivals?
They were great. I mean, we felt like stars back then.
Was this in the era of what's the guy's name? Used to wear the booth, used to dance like AJ Fox.
hmm
Remember AJ Fox? Used to pop dance.
Yes.
What they call them? Ohio? No, that was somebody else. Ohio players. They
Okay.
had Ohio dancers.
Right.
Those festivals was a good time.
Yes, they was.
The city had a whole different character.
Yeah, completely different.
So your singing group.
hmm
Can you tell me a little bit about that? How'd you guys get started?
We just got started because we used to watch another group called New Generation. They were older than us, but we used to see how they used to like perform in talent shows and festivals and how the girls used to scream and just give them a lot of attention. And we kind of wanted the same attention and the same kind of recognition. So we formed our own group from that point on.
How many people in your group?
It was four of us.
All East Cleveland guys?
Yes, all guys from East Cleveland.
Okay.
hmm
You did the Shaw High Talent Show.
Yes, we did. Actually, we won third place the one year we was in there. We won third place, and it was exciting. Very, very, very good memories
Wow. Wow. That was in Shaw.
at Shaw
That was your high school days. What about junior high?
Junior High. Oh, okay. Well, junior high, basically, them were good days also. But in junior high, we basically just went to the mall a lot. Caught the bus on the weekends and went to different like dances, like every other Friday or every Friday. And I mean, junior high days were nice, but I like the high school days better.
Let me ask you this. So junior high, catching a bus, high school going to different cities. What was that experience like?
It was great because back then, if you had $10, you felt like you was kind of rich. You can catch the bus, buy something to eat at the mall, go to the movies, and everything with just $10. I can't understand how I was able to stretch $10 that far to do all them things with. And if you had $20, you really could do a lot then.
So getting around, you guys didn't like have any issues with police or other people, like any type of gang activity or being robbed or mugged or anything like that?
Oh, you know what? I can't recall back when I was in junior high school when I used to basically go over like different girls' houses and things like that. I would walk over there, and I used to dress real nice and everything like that. Had leather jackets and things of that nature. And I remember a guy, a whole lot bigger than me. He tried to, he swung at me, but I had ducked and everything. But he was a lot bigger than me, so I just went ahead and ran. But he tried to like steal my jacket and things like that. And I do remember one time someone put a knife on me and they actually did take some clothing of mine.
Here in East Cleveland?
Yes, it was in East Cleveland when I was living Yeah, when I was going to Shaw High School.
Okay.
But yeah, I do remember that.
And
Yeah,
you're still living on Milan?
Milan at the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Milan, what elementary is that?
I went to Mayfair Elementary, living on Milan.
Mayfair. Okay. Okay. What was Mayfair like?
Oh, Mayfair was pretty fun. You just go to school, do your go to recess and basically just try to have fun in school. I used to study a lot and everything, do my homework, and I used to be pretty good with books and everything like that. But
That's good.
yeah,
Did Mayfair have any other activities going on for the youth?
um, they had a pretty amount of a lot of activities for the youth. I just really wasn't too much involved too much when I was going to Mayfair in elementary school.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fondest memories. Anything else?
Um.
Singing sounds like it was a good thing.
Yeah.
You guys had a lot of fun with it. Whatever happened to that?
You know what? I don't know. We just got disinterested after everyone got older. We started going our separate ways, and I don't know why we just stopped. I think one year we had did a talent show, and we thought that we were the best, but they accused us of lip singing, but we was actually really singing for real, because we sounded so much like the group that we were imitating, and since we lost, I don't know, we just kind of got discouraged and we just kind of stopped after that.
You guys were like a cover group, or did you have any of your own material?
We were a cover group,
Okay.
but we was going to eventually start doing our own material though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You just stopped short of that.
We just stopped short of that.
Did you guys do the audition?
Yes, we did.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I bet y'all was dynamite because back in them days, anybody did it. You didn't even have to be that good. The
Right.
girls would just go crazy.
Yeah, they would go crazy. Just the fact that you're doing that, you were imitating that group. They were very popular back then.
I
So,
remember. There's some good days.
yeah.
Thinking back, Rashawn, we talked a lot about the good days. I know you covered festivals and different activities that happen in the city. In what ways has the city changed over time, and what do you think contributed to those changes?
The city definitely changed. For one, I know there's a lot of abandoned homes in East Cleveland, and the fact that there's a lot of abandoned homes, I think a lot of people prefer not to, live in East Cleveland now. And I think that the cause of that is because of the dope dealers and there's a lot of like robberies and things of that nature in East Cleveland. And I think the East Cleveland police is kind of short-handed to respond to all the crimes that happens in East Cleveland.
Okay. Now, you talked about drugs and crime. As comparing that era, what roughly time period would you say that was? The city took this dive.
The city took a dive like that, I would say, kind of like in the late 80s to mid 90s.
Now, before this period,
Right.
what was drugs and crime like in the city before this period?
Before that period, I can't recall much drugs and activities of that nature. It just seemed like every since like around like 88, 89, when a song like Dope, I think it was called Dope Man by NWA. It seemed like a lot of people was trying to imitate that group for some reason. They were listening to the lyrics and trying to live the lyrics that they were, speaking on. And ever since then, that's when it seemed like everything just kind of took a dive or digressed.
Okay. Okay. So before that, say when you moved in and they considered it the suburbs, how would you describe the police then?
Oh, the police then they were very responsive. When you called them, they were like there immediately. And they just didn't play around, it seemed like back then.
Okay.
Yes.
so that contributed to it as
Yes.
well.
Hmm.
Yeah, drugs and crime. Anything else you think contributed to the change in the city?
Um,
Abandoned houses, drugs, and crimes, what you have so far.
right. Basically, I think when a lot of people started moving out of East Cleveland, the houses became empty. And whenever there's a community where there's a lot of abandoned houses, I believe that elevates the crime statistics then.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna back up a little bit. You talked about your band kind of breaking up after you did that show. You guys took third place. Were you in and out of high school then?
Yeah, we was in high school.
You're still in high school?
Right. When we took third place in the talent show, no, that's not when we had quit. We had quit like maybe a couple of years after that when we performed in the talent show in Cleveland Heights, and that year we didn't win anything. We lost then, so I think that kind of discouraged us. So we just didn't continue on with it.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So after high school, you stayed around East Cleveland?
Yes, I did. After high school, I stayed in East Cleveland for about maybe 2 years after that, or 3 years, and then after that, I went to the military,
What branch?
the Navy.
Okay, okay. How many years were you in the Navy?
Um, Total 6 years. The first tour I did 2 years. I went in from 94 to 90, no, 92 to 94. Then I had got out for like about maybe 4 years. Then I went in again in 98 and stayed there till like 2001.
Okay. And what kind of got you to be military guy?
Um, because, be honest with you, I just wanted to travel and see the world. You know, I could have went to college, but I wanted to try something more adventurous. I mean, I didn't want to put the burden on my parents as far as trying to pay for my college tuition and things like that. Like I said, I just wanted to see the world and travel and try, experience something different. I wanted to get away from home for a little while.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about it.
What's the military?
Yeah, traveling the world.
Oh, it was great. It was great. I was in the Navy, so I went on 6 month cruises. I went to like Japan, the Philippines, China. I just seen the world altogether. And even when I was stationed in like say South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, I used to just party like I was a college student. I met all kind of women, and we just had so much fun. I mean, I would go out to the club and party till like about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and still had to be at work at 7, and I still made it to work. And it was the good old days. It was kind of like being at college, but I still worked. When I went to work, I worked 8 hours or whatever. But when I got off of work, I went, and I kind of like party like I was in college.
Did you get any of the want to do all this from Hank? Because I know Hank was telling me some of the
Yeah,
party stories he did. He too was in Japan.
exactly.
Same place?
I believe so. I believe Tokyo I had
Okay.
went
I
to.
think he said he went to Okinawa.
Oh, Okinawa. Okay. I went to Tokyo, but it's kind of like the same thing,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, Hank did tell me a lot about how he used to have fun when he was in the military. So that kind of did give me some kind of encouragement to want to join also.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So it was a good time in the military.
Yes,
A
yes it
lot
was.
of good buddies.
Yes.
You still close to them?
A couple of them I still talk to every
Okay.
now and then.
Okay.
Hmm.
What made you finally leave the military after 6 years?
Well, close to the end, I was actually getting a little tired of it as far as having so many people, in charge of me, telling me what to do and things like that. And I mean, for the first 4 or 5 years, I loved the military, but then after a while, I just started getting a little bit. It just started to become a little bit stressful for me. So I knew at that point that I didn't want to just stay in and make a career of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna go on to question 5 now. How
Okay.
has race and racism impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Okay. Race. Well, as far as racism, what I can't understand is it just seems to me that, if you're, Caucasian or whatever, it seems like they have a lot of better opportunities. They may not necessarily have more skills or more education, but it just seems like it's about who they know. And they always know, they always get the best opportunities because they know someone. And that goes with as far as loans and everything of that nature. I mean, I know that I applied for a loan before, and I do recall the white person. We had about maybe the same credit score. My credit score might have been a little bit better than his, but they denied me, but they approved him. So it make me think that there's two different rules, for the different nationalities.
Okay.
Hmm.
Any other instances where you experienced racism firsthand?
Well, in the military, I did.
You want to tell us some of those stories?
Yeah. Okay. When I was in the Navy, I remember. I mean, I've been in there for a good while, and it was a white person who was ahead of me. He had more rank than I did, but there was a guy that had less rank than me, but he was white, and the person that had less rank than me was treated a lot better. He was getting much better jobs and everything like that. And I just remember the white person that was ahead of me, that had more rank than me, he was always trying to degrade me and things of that nature. And I got an attitude, and I told him about himself. So then he got in my face and started putting his fingers in my face and everything like that. So then I had hit his hand, put it down, and I went ahead and I punched him just because I felt threatened that he was trying to attack me. And I think that's a big reason why I got out the military too, because I started experiencing racism in the military, not at the beginning, but kind of like in the later years while I was in the military.
Okay.
Hmm.
A lot of that happened here on mainland or in some of your travels abroad.
No, it was my travels abroad. I didn't experience much racism when I was living on Milan, living in East Cleveland, and things like that.
I mean, in the military,
Hmm.
did it happen while you were stationed here in the States?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, it
Okay.
did. It happened when I was stationed in the States. Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely.
And that had an impact on your decision of staying in the military.
Yes, it did. Hmm.
Okay. Did you have any adverse feelings so far as yourself being promoted?
Um, yes, I did because I felt like I was a very good, dedicated, hard worker, and the fact that I didn't get promoted like I felt like I should have. Oh, that's another thing what I experienced. I noticed that my work ethics, in my opinion, and actually a lot of my fellow employees or coworkers told me that they said, "Man, you do a good job. You work a lot harder than the other person that they promoted." And he was a white guy, and so basically, I just felt that it was unfair that he got promoted and I didn't, when I actually put forth a lot more effort than the person that got promoted over me.
Okay.
Yes, and that was the unfair part of, I felt that I was being discriminated against somewhat.
Military.
Yes, military. Hmm.
If we could come back to East Cleveland, but stay with the race and racism theme, how would you describe race and racism growing up in East Cleveland, like from '70s
Hmm.
through today?
Hmm. Um, I didn't really experience any racism like in the '70s or anything like that, but I do experience it now. Currently at my job that I'm at now, I noticed that, like for example, I was working at a building called the Marion Building, and basically the person I was working with he had someone detained, had him in custody. And my job basically was to assist the person with the paperwork and the transport of the detainee to the Justice Center. And I just stepped out the office for a second to make a copy of the warrant report or whatever. And the person that was in custody, he was chained to a chair and everything. He got a hold of the evidence. And that person was, I mean, he got a hold of the evidence, and And because of that, and I was unlawfully terminated because of that incident. That was not even my prisoner or my detainee that was in custody. It was the person that actually had the person who actually detained the person that was in custody. Nothing happened to him. But I know like other cases where someone has someone in custody and they actually escape from while being in custody. They was able to get the handcuffs off of them and they was able to escape. And the person that actually escaped was a Caucasian person and nothing happened to that person whatsoever. And in my case was nowhere near as severe as the detainee that escaped in the other officer's custody at the time. And I felt that was very unfair that person just got a slap on the wrist and I was terminated.
Wow.
Yes.
So whatever happened because of that?
I fought it. I got my union involved. I had connected with my union steward and also my union lawyer, and we fought that. Initially they did not overturn the decision. What we had to do was we had to go to an arbitration. It's like a mutual party. And because of that, he viewed both sides. So definitely, he favored on my side because he felt that I was unlawfully and unfairly terminated.
Okay. Okay. And so then ultimately what happened?
I got my job back, and they had to, give me my retroactive pay, and I was reinstated.
So a little bit of justice.
A little bit of justice, yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Let's stay on the same theme and go back to the 70s in East Cleveland. It's a suburb. What did your street makeup look like?
Okay, it was, like I say, it was very clean.
People.
Okay, yeah, the people were like all very friendly. Everyone was like everyone's friend or neighbor. You know, you basically could just be walking down the street and they'll say, "Come on over, hang out with us," and you start hanging out with them and y'all just start talking and going to someone's backyard playing basketball and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
And like a lot of the older people on that street would invite you over, on their porch, and they would like cook some ribs or barbecue and just invite the kids over and just feed all the kids and everything. They used to have backyard like birthday parties, and all the kids were invited to the birthday party and things like
What
that.
was the racial makeup?
I remember it was majority African Americans then.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Would that be the same with your schools?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Okay. Through your years on Milan, from what you just described, how had that changed?
It.
Barbecues and
I mean, you just don't see the children hanging out together no more. Playing different sports or just playing. I think nowadays the kids just basically be in the house playing video games and things of that nature. It's definitely not the same.
okay. Okay. Now, I know you mentioned earlier that you didn't really experience any racism or racial problems growing up in the city and in the school system,
Right.
East Cleveland.
No.
Nothing you can.
Well, it's really hard to experience racism when the school system was predominantly black. I say about 99.8% black, really. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was nothing to compare it to.
If I was to ask you a question, how has race or racism impacted the city of East Cleveland? What would be your feelings on that question?
I just think the morale of the morale has just went down a lot since of racism. I think people just don't have the same positive attitude that they may have had back then.
Okay. Inequality. How has inequality impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city of East Cleveland? I know you talked about your loan,
Right.
and that could have touched on it. But how else has inequality impacted you from a personal perspective?
it'll just make me feel like I can't depend on like institutions or maybe like the government for different things. Everything that I have to accomplish, I just have to make a way for myself instead of relying on the system to help me.
How would you say inequality has impacted the city of East Cleveland?
I mean, I just feel that it impacted the city of East Cleveland because the fact that, you know, you see so many, like I say, abandoned homes and things of that nature, whereas the fact that inequality, I feel like the the government could actually renovate a lot of the homes and things like that and bring more people back into the community, you know, to uplift the community back to the way it used to be. And because of the inequality, I feel like the city is not going to progress until things of that nature, you know, until that happens. Hmm.
Okay, we're back live. How else has inequality impacted you and the city? And I think you had a good point
Hmm.
with the government coming in and fixing up houses and all of that talks about resources
Right.
essentially.
Hmm.
So how else would you say inequality has impacted you?
It impacted me because, I mean, I want to be able to provide for the community as far as like buying like rental properties and giving people, you know, a place to stay at a very good, you know, price and everything. And the fact that I can't get like a loan or a grant or anything, that just make that just makes it hard for me because I have to like work extra hard and create for myself instead of getting help or assistance from, you know, the government.
Okay. How
Hmm.
about inequality in the military during your time there?
Yeah. Like I said, as far as inequality in the military, I, you know, I didn't I didn't appreciate the fact that I had to work harder just to prove myself, and others didn't have to do as much, and they were the same ones that get promoted and got the easier jobs also at the same time. So I just didn't feel like I would never get a fair treatment if I continued to stay in the military.
So looking at the military and some of the treatments that you received
Hmm.
and then what you just said, how would you say that that has impacted you as a person?
It made me somewhat bitter as far as knowing that I'm not treated fairly, or no, but I still try to put God first and have a positive attitude about things. You know, I don't blame society for anything because actually I'm doing pretty well right now, even though all the things that I had went through as far as inequality and unfairness. You know, I just try to keep pushing and keep moving on. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Can you recall a memory or an instance when the community fought for something?
Um, I can't not right offhand, but I can't think of nothing right offhand off the top of my head.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Were you in East Cleveland, say, 4 years ago when the hospital we went through that whole thing with Heron Road? Were you still living in the city then?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you're aware of the Heron Road Hospital, that whole debate and fight to keep the hospital here.
Oh, yes, I am.
How how did you feel about that?
I mean, if I can recall correctly, didn't the community fight to keep that hospital? You know what? That is something that the community did. I just forgot about that. I mean, I thought that was a very good stand for the community to get together, you know, to fight to keep the hospital, you know, active because that's the only hospital that I can recall that's in East Cleveland. And I think that was very good like I said, stand, and it took a lot of unity for the community to get together to keep the hospital, going like that.
Okay.
Yes.
So we actually lost the hospital, but they gave us Stephanie Tubbs, kind of,
Right.
and they did provide us with some financial assistance for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Also, we had the fight for the post office maybe
Right.
a year or two before that.
Okay.
Do you remember that fight?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the way the community, like I said, stuck together and fought for that also.
Okay. Now, thinking years before that, can you think of anything that maybe the community or a group fought for, fought to have change, or fought to keep going? Now, I know you said you did a lot of festivals, and I
Mhm.
know over the years they've actually canceled some festivals or they don't do some festivals. Was there anything on that line that they fought for?
Not that I can recall, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 8. How have surrounding institutions and cities impacted East Cleveland? Surrounding institutions be like hospitals,
Mhm.
university,
Right.
the Cuyahoga County. How have they impacted the city of East Cleveland? Good or bad?
Okay. Well, I believe that it impacted the community. Well, like you say, not in a good way because the fact that they lost the hospital, even though trying to fight for it, people just do not have the same opportunities that they had before when before they had all these different businesses going on and openings.
What about surrounding cities? Cleveland Heights, Euclid, South
Hmm.
Euclid. How do you think they've impacted, or even Cleveland?
Hmm.
How do you think they've impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Well, I don't think they impacted the city of East Cleveland either way because I don't think they really did anything to help East Cleveland. You know, so it's really not a progress or a degress as far as impacting the city of East Cleveland.
How about University Circle, Case Western Reserve?
Hmm.
How would you classify them so far as impact in the city of East Cleveland?
Um, I really can't say honestly.
How about Little Italy?
Oh, Little Italy, yeah, okay. I mean, I really don't see, I really don't see the impact that that had on East Cleveland though. Honestly.
Okay, okay. Let's go on to 9. What is your vision for the future of East Cleveland?
Okay, that's a good question. My vision for East Cleveland is to provide more authorities as far as police officers, to renovate the properties, the homes that's abandoned, to get more people moving back into the community, and you know the fact that they will have more authorities like police officers and things of that nature, that would eliminate the crime also. It would prevent the crime or eliminate it at least.
What else will be your vision? Think about when you were growing up in the 70s, going
Hmm.
to school in the 70s and 80s,
Hmm.
what it looked like. What are some of the things you had and that you could do? And you named a bunch of them.
Hmm.
So, with that in mind, what would this new East Cleveland look like? What are some of the resources or opportunities we'd have available?
Okay. Um, I believe if East Cleveland can get a grant, they can they can fix the schools up, provide more educational resources, like more computers, more books, And I just believe that East Cleveland would be a good place to raise the children again once they, like I say, fix up everything and provide more tools for the school systems.
Now, when you say fix up the place, and I keep thinking,
Hmm.
and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I keep
Right.
thinking how you said that you guys always had something to do.
Yes.
You're going here, doing this, going to the park.
Oh, yes.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, I'm getting at that also because, you know, to have like different places for the children to go play, hang out at, like the YMCA's, the civic centers, the different recreational facilities that they had back, way back in the days. I believe they need to, have places for youth to go to when they out of school or when they get off school, when they get out of school or, really whenever they have spare time. Kids need a place to hang out more so. And right now in East Cleveland, they do not have places to hang out like they did back in the late 70s, early 80s.
With this, and I got to go back again because I also went to Mayfair.
Oh, okay.
Now, when I was there, we had camp.
Oh, yeah. Summer camp.
You remember summer camp?
Yes, I do remember that.
Thing with the rope?
Yes.
Pull it like this, and we went to summer camp like 2 weeks.
Right.
Did you go to summer camp?
Yeah, I did go to summer camp before.
You don't know now if the kids have that, though, do you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay.
You know what? I think they may have summer camp, but nowadays they make summer camp so expensive. I think it's a large fee for summer camp now. But back then, I think summer camp was free. And
You remember walking down Allegheny, walking down the Chambers and going swimming?
Yes, I do remember
During
that.
school?
Yeah.
And then walking back?
Yes.
That was part of our gym class. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 swimming pools.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yep. Over there by Chambers area. Yep. The elementary school. Yep.
Okay. I'm just trying to
Mm-hmm.
spark your memory a little
Yeah.
bit on some of the beautiful things we had here.
Right.
Right? And not just for youth, but also for high schoolers.
Right.
We had tons of stuff to do
Mm-hmm.
for high schoolers. Right? You go to Shaw football games, right?
Yes, I did.
Tell me what that was like.
Oh, that was exciting. I mean, you just go to the game and you just hang out and see all the people from like different schools going to the game, and it was just very, very fun. After the game, you may go to like a little party or something, a house party, and yeah, that was very, very fun.
Good time.
Very good time.
Good time. You guys ever lead a game, go up to Angela Mia?
Oh yeah,
That's when it was sit down.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Go in there and get a pie, and all the football team would show up.
yep,
Good time.
yeah, they had the best pizza too. They probably still do, but I don't think the kids after the games they get together and go to like Angela Mia's and sit down.
What did you guys do when you graduated from 6th grade?
6th grade.
Yeah. What's your graduation at?
It was at Mayfair Elementary School.
That's where they had it?
Yeah, that's where they had the graduation.
What about Kirk?
Okay, that graduation was, I believe that was at Kirk also. But after graduation, with Kirk, we basically just got together and all went out to eat, and we went to like little house parties,
See, when we graduated from Mayfair,
Mm-hmm.
our after prom was at Court.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that was our first time, because we 6th graders.
Right.
And we up in Court partying. We couldn't wait to get to high school.
Right.
To go to Shaw.
Right.
Go hang out in Court Lounge.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I do remember after I graduated from, like say, Mayfair Elementary School. We had like a little dance and everything like that, and I was at Corp. I remember taking a date to the Corp and hanging out, and I forgot about it. Like I said, that been so long ago. I ain't trying to sound like I'm very old, but it was just I just couldn't remember that right offhand.
Good times.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
the city had tons to offer.
Yes.
Had no reason really to leave a city,
Mm-hmm.
except to go to the malls. And we used to
Right.
take the bus,
Mm-hmm.
Severance, Richmond,
Right.
Randall,
Right.
right here from Windermere.
Exactly.
You know, but basically we had no reason to leave the city.
No, because in the city in East Cleveland, there was always something to do. There was always like a skating arena to go to at the Civic Center or like
How about Shaw Lanes?
Shaw Lanes. Oh yeah, the bowling alley. I remember that.
There's some parties in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, I remember going to Shaw Lanes and bowl. Do some bowling before and hanging out there the whole Saturday or something.
there we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Now we're looking at the vision for East Cleveland. Tell me about, or tell me what you think would be some of the major issues that need addressing. Some of the issues that the city now faces that need addressing
Hmm.
in order to make this city better. Issues.
Issues. Okay. I say fixing up the city so it won't be such an eyesore like it is, to make more people want to move back into the community, and then that would create a higher morale. So therefore, the different like places like the Civic Center and the Shaw Lanes and things like that, where people could just hang out, period, would actually just want to hang out there and have different activities like it was back in the days. But first, I think they have to make it more of an attractive place to where people want to come live and raise their children at.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the look of the city and provide activities and places to go. What are some other issues or places you think this city needs right now?
Okay. I just.
Like, what is this city
Hmm.
missing that other cities have or that East Cleveland had back in the
Hmm.
70s and 80s?
They're missing the population. I think. First of all, they missing the population. They need to make it more attractive, whereas more people will want to come back to East Cleveland. And I think, like I said, that would create all the different activities that East Cleveland once had before.
Okay. Let's go back and talk about Shaw, just
Okay.
from a personal perspective.
Okay.
You been in the new Shaw?
No, I haven't. I haven't. But it looks great when I pass it by. When I'm driving by it.
You been in the new Kurt?
No, I haven't.
How do you feel about let, since you haven't been in? How do you feel about the new Shaw?
I mean, it looks. I mean, I don't know how it is as far as the educational system and everything, but just looking at the outside of the building, it looks very nice, though. I mean, it looks. Actually, when I went to Shaw, it didn't look bad at all then either. But it
Tell
looked.
me, tell me what Shaw looked like when you was there.
When I went to Shaw, when I graduated in '89, Shaw had like about 5 or 6 different buildings: the Corp, the Tech. It's some other names I just can't remember. The vocational had a lot of different. Yes, it looked like a college campus. Actually, it didn't look like a high school. It looked like a college because it was a big courtyard they had. You know, and yeah, that's what I remember mostly about Shaw. When I go to like visit other high schools back in them days, they didn't have a big courtyard, and I think their school was just one building. Shaw had like 5 or 6 different buildings connected together, and like four different lunchrooms also. And other Cleveland schools I know definitely didn't have only but one lunchroom.
And we had a swimming pool.
Oh yeah, we had a swimming pool.
I get mad every time I go by there.
Right, they had an indoor and outdoor swimming pool.
Remember how the front of the building was? Remember
Yes.
how people would just drive up in that alley right
Yeah.
there, and then you
Uh-huh.
could walk all the way up the courtyard, go to the basketball game.
Right.
Then after the game, we'd just be hanging out. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time,
Yes.
right? And to look at that place now, I can't believe they did that to the place.
Exactly. Like I say, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. They should have kept it the way it was, I think.
They could have maintained some of the heritage that
Hmm.
it had. You know, that's just my personal
Right.
opinion. But since you haven't been in there,
Right. I haven't been in there.
yeah, and I know. Did you play basketball at all?
No, I just played football.
Okay, I know a lot of the people that play basketball that have gone into. You don't go to the basketball games. You know how we every year we do the all class reunion.
Yes.
You know how they had a basketball game, right?
Hmm.
So I've been in the gym, and everybody talks about how small the gym is, and how
Wow.
small the locker room is as compared to what.
How it used to be. Yes.
And it wasn't that bad a condition as say other parts of the school
Right.
for them to tear it down.
They didn't have to tear it down. I think they should have just redid what was, what was not right. They didn't have to like tear it down and rebuild the whole structure. They should have kept the structure the same, just fix the areas that were, that were damaged or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good days.
I know. So I don't think Shaw even have a courtyard now, do they?
Don't have a courtyard. Don't have a Corb lounge.
Wow.
I can't believe they took out Corb. I don't think anybody was on the school board that had went to Shaw and that experienced Corb.
Right.
Because Corb was a place you could grow and develop just going there.
Right.
And hang out. Because we would go to games.
Hmm.
We would have dances in there.
Exactly.
Remember the slow dances we used to have in there?
Yeah, we used to have like homecoming dances and everything in the court.
So I don't think anybody on the school board that decided the new look
Hmm.
actually went to Shaw, and they couldn't speak from experience.
Right.
How Corb
Used to be. Yeah.
and the impact it had
Hmm.
on the students, and why you would build a campus with no courtyard.
Right. Because I remember back when I was at Shaw, going in the Corp Lounge, even during our lunch break, people would be dancing on the floor and things like that. And by being a senior, you could sit on the stage. You feel like you was top dog or something sitting on the stage.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
See?
Uh-huh.
Corb Lounge.
Corp Lounge. Yeah.
You need that because the freshmen, they got something to look up to. Like I say, when
Right.
we walked up there,
Hmm.
sixth grade graduation from Mayfair, and we in Corb having this little party or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can't wait to get here.
Yeah. Make you look forward to going to
Yeah.
going to high school.
So now when I think about the youth, and I'm just like,
Right.
because I know when we grew up, during the day, everybody was at school.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know what they doing now.
Yeah, we was at school because school was so enjoyable back then.
That's where everybody was.
Right.
So where else would you be?
Exactly. You actually kind of looked forward to going to school.
We would go to school sick. Mother had to tell us to stay home.
Hmm. Yeah, she'd tell us to stay home, but we'd be like, please, let me just go to school. But nowadays, kids actually begging their mother to stay home now, or parents to stay home.
I can't understand it, man.
Yes.
So listen, we talked about the vision of East Cleveland and some of the major issues that need addressing in order to better the city and the community. And you touched on a lot of good points and a lot of things that you think are needed in order to make this a community, a neighborhood, a city. Is there anything else that would add to a more inviting place to bring people in?
Right. I mean, my whole thing is this: the blueprint should be just remember how East Cleveland was back in the late 70s, in the 80s, or all through the 80s, and how nice of a community it was back then. If you could just remember how it was back then, you could just make things as close as possible to the way it was back in them days. And I think if you follow that blueprint, then East Cleveland would be kind of basically like it was back when it was real nice. I can't think of anything else to add to that, but just
One of the
no.
things in a lot of the interviews that I do, one of the first things people jump out and say,
Hmm.
they talk about supermarkets.
Oh, supermarkets, right? Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that. You know what? Now that you mentioned that, I know now. I remember they had a hot sauce Williams right on Hayden. They had all kind of stores, like SAS stores and supermarkets, right on Hayden. And now they don't even have any stores or supermarkets. They just have these like little stores, owned by the you know, Arabs and everything. But like you said, all them supermarkets they used to have and all the different like little restaurants, they just do not have anymore.
Remember, you used to have to walk past a supermarket to get to Mayfair. You
Yes.
remember that one on the corner?
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of that one? It was right
Save
next
more. Save more.
Save More,
Mm-hmm.
right next to the hot sauce.
Hot sauce Williams. That's exactly the one I'm talking about.
We had, remember Super Value?
Yes.
Remember the A&P that was down there by Shaw on Euclid?
Yes. Yeah, they even had like a Sue. It was called a Sue Sub place right on Euclid, right next to Shaw High School,
Mm-hmm.
and across the street actually from Shaw, they had a Mr. Chicken, I think, one of them kind of Sisters Chicken, I think it was, and they had a supermarket right across the street from there from Shaw High School. Yeah, what happened to all them supermarkets and restaurants?
And thinking back
Yeah.
about the 70s and the 80s and how
Mm-hmm.
nice it was,
Yes.
right? Those are some of the things that we had.
Right. You know what? That would actually attract people to want to move back in East Cleveland. If they was to, get back them supermarkets and them restaurants, you know, because like I said, they don't have any of that no more. But if they was to get that back, then that would actually attract people to want to move back to the community. Hmm. Hmm.
Rashawn, let's go back a little bit because you touched on it earlier. I wanted to talk more about it. Your marriage.
Hmm.
When did you get married?
I got married in, let me see, 94. I was married for like about 3 years. That's all.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I was in the military. I traveled the world and everything of that nature, and we were both like really young, and my girlfriend. I'm sorry, my wife at the time just had the need to play around, sleep around, and things of that nature, and I just canceled. I just got a divorce because I didn't feel like I just feel like I couldn't trust her. So I didn't. Instead of being like stressed and always worried about what she's doing, I thought it would be better just to depart ways with her.
Okay,
Yes.
3 years. Any offspring from that marriage?
No. She had a miscarriage once.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. But that's the reason why there's no offsprings because of the miscarriage.
Okay.
Hmm.
And where did you meet your,
I met
I
her.
guess, ex-wife?
Yeah, I met her when I was stationed in South Carolina.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I met her. She was actually from South Carolina. You know, I
Brought
met.
her back to Cleveland?
No, I didn't bring her back to Cleveland.
Okay, so all this happened in South
In
Carolina.
South Carolina, yes.
So how long total were you in South Carolina?
Let me see. For about 4 years, something like that. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, okay. Any stark differences between, say, South Carolina and Cleveland, East Cleveland? Anything could like just jump out at you like this is what's so different?
Hmm.
Maybe in the people or in the place?
Yeah. The people there were, I could say, a lot more friendlier. In Charleston, South Carolina, they were there were just a lot more things to do as far as like going to like parties and different events. Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. You'd like to bring some of that here to East Cleveland.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Okay. Rashawn, what would you be prepared to do to participate in making East Cleveland better?
Whatever it takes. Um, I mean, I would pick it with, with the community as far as whatever it takes, as far as getting the structure back. Whatever, whatever suggested. Because I really don't know exactly what to do as far as getting things back to the way it was, or what does it take to, to get the different, restaurants and supermarkets and things like that, and just to open up the different like gyms or YMCA's or civic centers. I mean, whatever's required, I would definitely do.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now I know you spoke earlier about Hank and how he's active.
Yes.
Have you been like to any of the groups or organizations, some of the events that they would have that he would go to?
No, I haven't. But I
Okay.
told him that I would start going to them. You know, I would like to definitely get involved. With the different meetings he go to, and I know he's very active in the community, and I would like to get it. I can't say I can be as active as him because I do work a full-time job, but I would definitely do what I can with the time that I do have, the spare time that I do have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So Rashawn, you got me really stuck back in the '80s and how we used to play, and
Hmm.
go and play other people from other streets and basketball and all that.
Right.
Thinking, thinking back, and then thinking forward for the vision of East Cleveland.
Hmm.
What what would you tell people if you were trying to get them to come to East Cleveland? Or what would you tell people in East Cleveland about this vision?
Hmm.
What would, like some words of wisdom or some words of encouragement?
Hmm. I would just tell them that if you could make, if you knew how this community was, you would definitely would like to get the community back to the way it used to be, and you would definitely be happy to live in this community, to live in East Cleveland. And if things can happen, whereas everything could get back to the way it used to be, then just I say just hang in there and wait for the progress to prevail. And and actually you would really love living in East Cleveland.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Rashawn, we'd like to thank you for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? This is your
Right.
voice and in action tape.
Hmm.
And I don't want to leave anything out if there was something, a subject matter that you wanted to talk about.
Right.
Family, city,
Hmm.
some of the big topics that we discussed: inequality, racism, issues that have faced the city, and what tore the city down,
Hmm.
and what needs to happen to bring the city back up. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
I think I covered mostly everything I think that I would like to see happen for the city of East Cleveland.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
I just like the good old days, and I know you can't relive the good old days, but I would like to make them days as close as possible to the way they used to be. And East Cleveland would definitely be one of the best cities to live in if we could make East Cleveland back to the way it used to be.
All right. Rashawn, we'd like to thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.